Hello everyone, welcome back to Code with Yusuf channel. In this video, we will use Next.js to create a registration form. For the database, we will use MongoDB database. It means that Next.js with MongoDB to create a registration form. So let's start. First of all, we will create our project, then we will implement the registration functionality. Come here to Visual Studio Code Editor. After creating your Next app, simply you can create your Next app like npx create -next app at latest. So after writing this command in terminal, so it will create an Next.js app. After creating the Next.js app, by default it will install the Tailwind CSS whenever you are creating your project, which is used for designing. We will use Tailwind CSS for the designing. So after creating your project, simply install npm install Axios, which is HTTP request and response library, Bcrypt, which is used for password hashing, and Mongoose, which is ODM, object data modeling tool to use for Node.js, MongoDB, and MongoDB. Yeah, I think we need just these three libraries right now. Yes, just install these three things to create this application. So let's start. Okay, just run this command to install Axios, Bcrypt, and Mongoose. So I have installed and I have created my project. So now let's start our coding. So after creating your project, come here to the app directory. In the app directory, you will see this page.js, and here you will see the default code. Just remove the default code, and in the global.css, remove all the CSS code. Just leave these Tailwind CSS directory. Now to create the registration form, let's first of all create the user interface of registration form. So for creating the user interface, for that we will create a new folder and we will name it register or registration. Inside that we will create page.js. Inside this page.js, now let's start our coding to design it. So simply we can create export default function. We can name it like registration, and let's write return statement, and inside the return let's design it. Inside this div element, let's create a forum, and inside that forum let's have an input field. Instead of input field, let's create a div element, and inside that we will have a label for name. First of all, input field for name, type text, placeholder, enter name, and let's copy this and create a second element, second input field for email, and type email. Paste it again for password. Type password. Now down from that, let's create a button which is used for register. So let's import this registration form in our default page.js file. Just come here and let's import that. Let's write registration. We have imported that. Now let's run our React app. So to run it, for that simply write here npm run div. So it will run our next app. It says move to this URL. Okay, control and press this URL. So look at back to the Chrome page. So here we will see our app, next app. So this is our next app. Look at enter name, enter email and password, and register button. Now let's use Tailwind CSS to design this. So on the top of this, let's add, close this and just come here, and here I will add to register. So it will looks like this. Now let's design it, and I will add just a few Tailwind CSS classes for the design purpose. For the design, I will pause the video because it will make the video length longer. So after adding Tailwind CSS classes, like to the first parent div element flex justify center to bring items to the center, and item center will bring vertically to the center, and its screen it will take the height of the screen. And this is for the forum that we have used and assigned width 96. h2 tag register, we have just increased the size of that text, and also for label, for input field, for this input field, and also for the password input field, and for the button. So let's check it now how it looks like. Let's save it. So this is the result, register, and here we have in name, email, and password fields. Now whenever we write something in these input fields, we would like to store that data inside our variables. So let's create variables for these three fields. We will use state hook, okay, to create state variables. So the first one is name, set name. Okay, to create a state variable, we will use like this. Okay, we will just call use state hook, and we will just here distract them. Like, first of all, the name of the variable, and set name is a method which is used for updating this name, and the default value is an empty string. Let's duplicate it, and we will assign here the email. Let's just correct email and set email. Shift Alt down arrow key to duplicate it for password also. Set password. So now let's update the values. So to update those values, let's simply write here on change event. Okay, we will call on change event, and we will just simply create an arrow function, okay, inside this unchange event, and I will just call set name, and I will call e.target that value. So what it will do, whenever you write something in this input field, so it will assign those values inside this name. It will store the values inside name variable. Let's do it for email and password also. Just copy this line and paste it for the email. Just update this to set email, and paste it for the password also. Update this to set password. That's okay. So after updating that, now it will give us an error, because in the app directory, if you are using app router in Next.js, so what it will do, it will just generate an error, because it deal with these component as server-side component. It means all components are treated as server-side component. So to make it as client-side component, because we are using use state hook, use effect hook, and these events, whenever you are using these things, so that means that this is a client-side component. So far, to make this as a client-side component, we will simply write here use client directory. Okay, it means that this is client-side component. Now whenever we press this submit button, okay, register button, we would like to pass data to the server side. So let's do it. Simply come here, and I would like to just create here a function. I will call the function here on submit. Oh, sorry, that is forum on submit handle submit. I will call this function. Now let's create that function. Const handle submit, and we will get an event, and here I will just simply write prevent default. So what it will do, it will prevent the default submission, and now we will use AXIS to just pass data. Simply make it asynchronous function, and just come here, and here we would like to use const response. We will get a response is equal to await. We'll use await keyword for the asynchronous, and here we will use AXIS to pass our data to the server side. So to pass data to our server side, we would like to use post method, and here URL. So the URL is that we will just it means that our server side path. So the server side path is that /API/register. So it means that we will create a folder by the name of API, and inside that I will create a folder register. So what it will do, it will access that. You know that in Next.js we are getting the routing is based on folders. So that's how we can access that. Okay, we will create API folder inside that register folder. So let's pass our data. So we will pass name, email, and password. So after passing these fields, this should be okay. Password. That is okay. So we will get a response. If the response was okay, it means that if we got a response dot okay, so it means that we logged in successfully. We created, it means our account successfully. Let's simply write, yeah, let's first of all just console.log. I will print the response what we are getting from the server side. So let's move now to our server side. Okay, to create, first of all, configure our MongoDB and create the API to register account. It just insert record to the database. So for that, let's move to our app directory, and inside that I will create a folder for API, and inside API I will create a folder register, and inside that I will create a file route.js, so we can access this. Okay, as we have accessed here, look at API register. So whenever we move to this path API register, so it will directly come here to this route.js, which is inside register. Okay, in app directory we are using like this. So now for the database, first of all we need to create connection with database. Okay, so to create connection with database, for that we need to create a folder in our root directory. Create a folder in our root directory, name it lib, and inside lib let's create a file. We will assign a name to that, which is like db.js, because it is used to create connection with database. So here to create connection with database, let's import first of all Mongoose. We are using Mongoose ODM, and here we will create now connection with that. Okay, so to create connection, for that let's create const a function connect to database, and inside this let's create it asynchronous function. Here I will use try catch block. If there was any error, so we would like to print the error and cancel. And inside this block, let's use now our Mongoose to create connection with database. So for the database, I am using MongoDB Compass. I have installed MongoDB locally in my PC in the computer. If you would like to use the MongoDB Atlas Online tool, so simply create your database there and just copy the connection string. So here in local database MongoDB, we are copying the path of this. Okay, to create connection with this, we just come here to the three dots, copy connection string. After copying the connection string, paste that inside .env file. So let's create .env file. Come here and we would like to create a file .env, and inside that I will write mongo URL is equal to this URL. Okay, this is the URL to create connection with database with MongoDB, okay, which I have installed locally. Now I would like to write here the database name. I will create a new database. Okay, right now we don't have a database by the name of register, so let's create a new database. We will name it register, and we will use this Mongo URL to create connection with database. Just come here to db.js, and here I will use await mongoose .connect, and here I will pass URL. So the URL, to get the URL, we will write env process .env mongo URL. So it will access that URL from .env file, and it will create connection with that. And simply write here console.log connected to db. Save that. Now let's export this function. Connect to database. That's okay. This is the connection. Okay, connection with MongoDB database. Now what we need, let's now create a user model. Okay, we would like to create a user model. It means that in database, for the MongoDB database, we always create models to create that collection in our database. So let's create that. So for that, what we need to do, simply we will create a folder and we will name it models. Okay, we have created in our root directory a models folder, and inside that I will create user.js. This is our model. So in this model we will create the schema for users, which fields the user has. So simply just come here. First of all, we will import mongoose and let's create user schema is equal to new mongoose.schema. In schema I will define the fields. Okay, first of all we have in our user model the name, and the name type is string type string. The second field that we have is email type string and required true. It is required, and also unique true. And the third field is password type string required true. That's it. This is our schema for users. We have these three fields. Now just come here and we will create model and we will export that. Const user is equal to, first of all we will specify just mongoose dot models dot user. It means if the users was whenever we are calling this schema, so it will first of all check if the user model was existed already, it was cached, so we will use that. If that was not available, so then it will create a new user model for us. For the first time it will create for us, but later it will use this sentence. If you don't write this, it will give you an error for you. So simply just write here mongoose.model, and here we will specify first of all the name. The name is user in schema, user schema. Simply user schema. Okay, you should write like this. First of all, mongoose models.user, it will look for the user. If the user was already available, so it will use that. If the user was not existed, so it will create a new for us. Now let's export it. User, save that. So we have created our user also, model also. Now what we need, whenever we come here, so we would like to just now create the API for our registration. So let's import user model first of all, and also let's import the connection to database, connect to database, and also bcrypt. Bcrypt. We have bcrypt in our app or not? Let's check that. React access. I think we don't have bcrypt. Let's install that. Okay, we don't have bcrypt. Let's install that. npm install bcrypt. Oh, I'm not connected with the internet, so let's create connection with the internet. So the installation completed. Okay, we have installed that successfully. Now let's close the terminal and look at, we have bcrypt here in package.json file. So we have imported bcrypt from bcrypt, and down from that let's now write our just write, okay, export async. This is asynchronous function post. Okay, the method is post because we would like to pass data to this, so that's why we are writing post. And here we will get a request, an instance app request object. Now inside this, let's write try and catch block first of all, and here we will use return next response. Next response, yeah, that has been imported. Now .json, we will just return error, an error occurred, error in server. Okay, and comma, here we will just return the status also 500. And inside this try catch block, let's first of all get the data from our request. It means the data we have passed. So for that, simply const, let's write name. We will extract name, email, and password is equal to with await request.json. It will just give us we will just extract our data, name, email, and password. After extracting them, now let's check it. If the user was already existed in the database, so we will return that the user is already existed. Const user exist. User existence is equal to we will use wait keyword and user model dot find based on email. If user existence was true, so we will return a new response. Return next response.json error user already existed. If the user was not existed, so we will come here down and we will just register. It means insert record to the database. So for that, we need first of all to just change the password to hash. Okay, we will hash our password. So for that, let's do it const hash password is equal to bcrypt dot hash. We will pass our password comma salt. Salt is just a number, a string, okay, a number that we are specifying. So it means that, for example, we wrote 10, so it will just join 10 unique character with every password. And after that, let's create a new user. Const new user is equal to new user, and we will specify email or name, email, and password. Password is hash password. That's it. Now let's save the user. So to save that, for that, simply write await new user. That's save. Call save method. And finally, return response. Next response.json message user registered. Status 201. So this is the API for our registration, for registering a user. So now let's just try it. Just come here and we would like to try it. Let's move to the terminal, what we are getting from the, let's refresh it. Simply write here a name, .com, and password 12345. Let's press the register button. So let's refresh our, we don't have register, so it means there is an error to the server side. So let's check that. Where is the error? Just come here. I think that is okay. That is okay. Let's refresh it. Yeah, we didn't. We didn't call the database. Okay, we didn't call the database function. Okay, connect to database. So let's call that. Const connect to database. Save that, and let's try it now. So look at the record directly registered. Look at, we have received. Let's just come here. We didn't yet. Let's now try it. Refresh it once again. We don't have the database here. We don't have the register database. Let's try it now. Simply just come here, user. Press the register button. We received successful message. It means we received, that is okay, the status is okay, and we received the data. User, it says error, user already existed. So let's refresh it. Let's just come here. We have register database. Okay, just come here. In register, we don't have the record. It means we faced with an error that await user.find based on email. If user existence was true, return next response.json user already. It means this is false because user is not existed right now. So just come here, user registered, user already existed, user already existed. So let's try it once again. User already existed. We should find that based on email. So instead of writing find, we should write find one. This function, we should call this one. So let's try it now. Just come here and let's press the register button. So what is the result? Error in server. It means that there is an error inside the server. Let's check that. Where is the error? Hash password bcrypt.hash password new user name, email, and password. Let new user.save. Error in server. Let's just, we can see an error here. So let's simply just return that where is the error. Instead of this, we will return error.message. Where is the problem? Okay, the message of the errors. Let's register it and let's check it now. Where is the error? Data. So it says user register, user validation failed, password cast to string failed for value. So it means there is a error inside the password. Let's use here first of all await keyword and bcrypt.hash password. That is okay. And 10, everything is okay. I think your password, hash password. Yes, so let's try it. We have just added the await keyword. Now let's press the register button. User registered successfully. Look at user registered with us. So it means that there was error if we don't write the await keyword. So before hashing the password, it was moving here. It was moving just to this line. So that's why we should write the await keyword, and we registered our user successfully. Just come here and refresh it. Look at, we have registered our first record. So after successful registration, now we would like to just simply move to the login page. Okay, so whenever we return the successful message, so we should return that okay response. So let's just come here back to page.js, and here simply we would like to move to the login page. So for the login page, let's create first of all the login page, and inside the app I would like to create a new folder, login, and inside that page.js, and here I will just write RAFCE. Save that. Now here I will just write I will use router. Okay, so to use the use router, for that let's const create an instance of that router is equal to use router. We will export that from next navigation. I think, yeah, that is next navigation. and simply write here router dot push slash login. So it will move to the login. Just come here and create a new user. Press register. So it should move directly to the login page. Look at login page. It has opened the login page. That is how we can create a registration form and inserting a new record to the database, to the MongoDB database using Next.js. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel, like this video and comment down. Thanks for watching.